just wanna use me.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, come on, Biz, you have 2 kids and a wife to worry about now. Wouldn't you like to be able to provide for your family? Do we have a deal?
I don't know what you reaching out your hand for. For I shake it, I break it. Hit the grave for I fake it. I will not accept payment to hand folk. Over to the devil, knowing Christ is they last hope. Surrounded by a bunch of gustos out of low cash. But I ain't selling my soul on my notepad. What you want me to do? Promote crack? Figured they wouldn't reject the noose if the rope black. So you make one a dealer, make the rest fiends. Make one a millionaire, make the rest bleed. Wanna see us hang, get a few good guys. Sit them in a bent coupe and make the noose look fly. I can't do it, I know what it feel like. Trying to fit a rap fantasy into my real life. Got a couple real homies doing real time. Trying to eat, now they being told when it's meal time. Why would I make that appealing to them? Why would I make rap appealing to them? And now you saying I'm the villain cause I'm chilling trying to get this penicillin.
Welcome to Rightly Divine the Word. And today we're going to talk to you about building your Tower of Babel. Building your own Tower of Babel. And so why we're going to have this conversation is because many of y'all are familiar with Genesis 11, verses 1 through 10, tells about the great Tower of Babel. So in your time of study, read through the complete section of Genesis 11, 1 through 10. But let's see what's taking place here. Now, this is the people who are talking, the people who were building the tower. And so from Genesis 11:4, and they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach the heaven. See, they reaching higher than what they should be. And then listen to what they say. Let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad and upon the face of the whole earth. So why do I think many of you are building your own Tower of Babel? Because many of you want to make a name for yourself. Let us make us a name. See, your brand. Everybody's concerned about their brand. Everybody concerned about their like. So they're willing to say anything. And most of them are lies, inflations, or whatnot, because it's their brand, is what they're trying to build. And so they're trying to build their own Tower of Babel. But we're going to move on. So I'm going to show you here, and from a quote from Abraham Lincoln, and sometimes I do use things outside the Bible, but rarely. But it's Abraham Lincoln had a famous quote saying, nearly all men can stand adversity. But if you want to test a man's character, give him power. So if you want to test a man's character, just give him power. And so many of y'all are familiar with this guy, and we've seen what's transpiring. But I want to give you a biblical worldview of why things are happening to him. So we're going to go to Proverbs 29. And Proverbs is a book of wisdom, but in particularly, Proverbs 29 deals with character, in particular character of people who think they have power. So we're going to begin with verse 1. He that being often reproved. So we know this gentleman here has been sued many of times over the years. And every time that this man has escaped, guess what it says? He that being often reproved hardened his neck. So every time he gets off, he begins to think he's invincible. So it leads to more and more boldness. But listen to what wisdom says here. So he that being often reproved harden his neck shall suddenly be destroyed. And listen to what it says after this. And that without remedy. So there's no remedy for what's getting ready to happen to this gentleman. But let's look at some other things that Proverbs also 29 states. And we're just going to take a few, not many, but from Proverbs 29 2, it states, when the wicked beareth rule, the people are in mourn. And so we've heard many stories about this gentleman over the years about how people were very disgruntled about the things that he was doing. So Proverbs 29:12, if a ruler hearkens to lies, all his servants are wicked. So everybody that was around him was wicked too. And hence all the stories that are coming out about the people that are associated with him. Proverbs 29:16, when the wicked are multiplied, transgression increase, sin increase, and sin increase. But the righteous shall see their fall. And we're witnessing the fall of this gentleman today. Proverbs 29:22. An angry man stirred up strife. And we saw the video. He was a very strifeful guy. And a furious man abounded in transgressions. And so a furious man, he's in deep with many of transgressions, many of sins. They multiplied. Hence, all the lawsuits and all the things that are coming out because a furious man, he abounded in transgression. Then Proverbs 29:23, a man's pride shall bring him low. And yes, he was a prideful man. And his pride is now bringing him low. And we're going to end with Proverbs 29:27. An unjust man is an abomination to the just. And he was. He didn't pay people. He used people. He did all kinds of things to get the things that he wanted. And listen what wisdom finished saying. And he that is upright in their, and he that is upright in the way of the way is abomination to the wicked. And basically what this saying, anybody that stands, anybody righteous that stands in his way, we are basically in his way. We are the abomination to the wicked. So he did everything in his power to try to destroy them. So those are the characteristics of a man with power. But let's move on. So the reason why I'm doing this is because this is called rightly dividing the word. The question becomes, well, what makes that gentleman any different from these gentlemen? So Steve Lawson, who recently had to step down because of sexual indiscretion. Robert Morris is another one this year who had to step down. And here are a few examples, and all of these happened just since January 24 of many other pastors, and there are many more. I couldn't put them all up because it would be too many to discuss. But the question becomes, what makes them so different from Puffy? Remember building your Tower of Babel. All these men, they had brands. They all wanted to make a name for themselves. They all had people covering for them. They all, because through the years of getting away with these things, that emboldened them. And so they thought they could continue on until God exposed them. So the question, as I stated,
He copped a lick, you smash a chick. Isn't it all wickedness?
did you hear that? Did you hear that? See, I said, what's the difference between them and Puffy? Because many of y'all go like, no, they're on a different level. But it says Puffy popped a lick. They smashed chicks. Isn't it all wickedness? Isn't it all wickedness? But we're going to move on because Is there a difference between those gentlemen and Puffy? And the answer to that question is yes. But the greater difference is to the men who call themselves pastors, who call themselves elders, who call themselves teachers, who call themselves overseers. In James 3, and I'm going to read from the Legacy Standard Bible, and it states, do not, many of you, become teachers, my brothers, knowing that we will receive a stricter judgment. So for all you pastors out there trying to build your brand, who's been getting away with a whole bunch of things over time, and every time you got away with it, it emboldened you. So you just thought you was above the law and that you couldn't be touched. But James 3 has a different story to tell, and it says, do not become teachers, knowing that you will receive a stricter judgment. So this is a warning to all you pastors. And yes, I don't worry about a Puffy. He's a devil. Why should I care about a devil and what he does? Because God takes care of the world. He judges them just like he judges us. But for the teachers, for the pastors, for the clergymen, for the priests, you get a stricter judgment. This is a warning. God is coming after you.
Because regardless of how men misrepresent you, you represented yourself perfectly as a man. And that's what I'm called, to keep my gaze on Jesus Christ, you feel me? The fullness of God manifested in the flesh. Thank you, Lord. Hey, I tried conforming to being normal. It's too late for me to fit in. Created for something greater, a seat my haters couldn't sit in. Prize the plate and sin's the stake that we a bid in. And the ride is fake, that's why they hate for me to get in. Since they label me a Christian, I know the agency is listening. I basically hate Satan, bruh, I faithfully resist him. And I know these Luciferians think they carrying wisdom, but in Jesus we have freedom, cause he was buried and risen forever. Now they trying to build their Tower of Babel again. What is the matter with them? This is the madness of sin, malicious fanatics contend. This is the pattern of men in Christ, we have already won. I've enlisted the battle with sin. If we demonstrate victory, how then can Satan get to me? At Calvary he lost, I guess we